Hi everyone, welcome to another Giant Team Clueless Battle Report. We're over at Nick's today and we're playing a big apocalypse game, 8,000 points aside. So we have Nick here today.
Hello again.
He is a true wargamer. He has paid for his wife to go away for the evening at a hotel just so we can use his house to play Warhammer. Thanks, Nick.
Hey.
We have Sai over there, and we have Chris, and obviously myself. We decided to have fewer players this time, just so we could each bring bigger armies. A mate of ours, Mark, was supposed to be coming along, but his girlfriend has gone into labour, so Chris has come in and deputised. Okay, so I'll go through the mission today, and then we'll rudimentarily go through our armies, but we're not going to do a blow-by-blow of exactly what's in our 8,000 point armies. So, here is our table. We've already rolled setups and we have set up our armies. The line basically is drawn across the centre there through the thunderhawk over to the other edge. And that's a setup line we can't set up within 12 of. So there's Necrons and Orks over there and a combined Imperial force over here. As with a lot of the missions I designed, there's quite a few victory points on offer, so I'll quickly go through them. So objective-wise, there is an objective in the centre of the Thunderhawk cockpit. That's worth 3 victory points, just like a normal objective at the end of the game. But also, if you control it at the end of your opponent's turn, you score an extra victory point to represent you downloading information from the Thunderhawk's databanks. Also, in your shooting phase, if you didn't move, you can fire some of the remaining Thunderhawk weapons. It's got some missiles on there that you can fire off if you are in control of it. Other objectives. Each side has deployed a bastion. The bastions have objectives in them, so if you, where's everyone? Everyone's here. So if you control the interior of the bastion, you score an objective. If the bastions get destroyed throughout the game, then we will replace them with rubble and you can actually go on the rubble. It won't be impassable and the objective will be on the rubble. If you destroy your opposing bastion, so if we manage to kill the Ork Necron bastion, you score an extra bonus objective. It's like a secondary mission because we're not using the standard secondary missions. What else have we got? Oh yes, forgot to mention. We have another table as well. We have a Zone Mortalis over here, which is representing an orbital starship. So on the starship there is the engine room in the centre here, and that is where an objective is. Similar to the cockpit objective, if you control that at the end of your opponent's turn, you score an additional victory point. Other things about the Zone Mortalis, there is a console to control the weapons of the battle cruiser that it's representing, so it can fire down onto the planet. Again, if you didn't move and you're in control of that in your shooting phase, you can fire an orbital bombardment of the planet. Other things about the mission. Oh yes, there is a relic going to arrive on the table randomly starting at turn 2. We'll roll a dice at the start of each player turn. On a 3+, we'll have a starship randomly crash onto the board. You'll notice there's a lot of random going on. It is apocalypse after all. It will come on somewhere down the centre line and then it will scatter a lot and anything underneath it will take some damage, shall we say. Then a relic will be placed in the rubble and then we've got a relic to fight over. In this mission it's worth 5 victory points, so it will hopefully be a point of contention. Other special rules we have teleport pads. There is one teleport pad in there, as usual, looking surprisingly like a coaster. There is one teleport pad up here in the Zone Mortalis. And there is another teleport pad hiding in this building down here. During the shooting phase, at the start of the shooting phase, if your entire unit is within 3 inches of those pads, you may transport to any other pad on either of the tables and place yourself anywhere within 3 inches, following normal rules of not being near other models and such like that. You count as running that turn. So basically if you use the pads, you then can't run, can't shoot and can't assault afterwards. I think that's most of the mission. Can anyone think of anything I have forgotten?
Did we want to go through what the templates are we're using for the Stomper?
Oh yes, so we have superheavies, which we'll get to when we do our armies. We have a Stomper and a Baneblade. Oh, and that's a good point, Nick. They are each worth an additional victory point if you kill them as well. And the only secondary mission we're using is the Kill the Warlords one. So each of we have 4 armies on the table effectively, so there are 2 Warlord points on offer to each side. So where are our templates, Nick? What have we got? So the Stomper uses a little 7-inch template. Well,
we've got a saucepan lid.
A saucepan lid, excellent.
It's got a handle as well, which is fantastic.
Nick has been running around the flat measuring random objects to try and find stuff.
The Baneblade has a dinner plate.
Excellent, the dinner plate template, my favourite type of template. Okay, we'll just rudimentarily go through the armies next. So let's see. Myself and Chris are playing an all-Imperial force, allying various forces together. So first of all we'll do what we've got over here on the Zone Mortalis. We have a Flamer Assault Squad, a Blood Talon Dreadnought, a load of Terminators. They're Blood Angels and they've got a Sanguinary Priest, a Librarian, but also Lysander has joined their unit. We have some Shooty Terminators with a Cyclone. On the actual table we've got a Daka Dread, we've got a Land Raider Crusader from the Grey Knights, We've got a Colossus, a Chimera, and a... What's that big tank with a good long range gun? A Vanquisher. Then inside here we have a load of Grey Knights. There's a Grand Master and a Librarian. We have a Scout Squad with snipers, a Thunderfire Cannon, a Vindicare Assassin. We've got the Baneblade over here. We've got a Land Raider with las cannons. We've got a 30-man Blob Squad with missile launchers and a Chimera and a Commissar to man the quad gun. We've got another Chimera there. We've got a standard battle tank with heavy bolters there. We've got a Manticore there. Company Command Squad is on top of the Bastion. It's got a las cannon and a Master of Ordnance. There's another Land Raider Crusader there. In reserve and in vehicles. So in reserve we have Guardsman Marbo and a Assassin, whichever one it is. I can't remember. I think it's a colourless Assassin, the one that just appears and kills stuff. You'd think all of them would do that. And we've got a Melter Drop Squad there. 2 Vendettas, the contents of which are 2 Special Weapon Squads with 3 Melters each. Stuff that's in Chimeras, so there's some Flamers in one of the Chimeras, and there is a Plasma Gun Veteran Squad in the other Chimera. The Bastion contains 3 autocannon heavy weapons teams. One of the Land Raiders has a tactical squad with every type of melter you can throw at them. We have... Now, I made this model a long time ago when there wasn't a Storm Raven model, so I hand built it out of plasticard. It's a little bit square, but we're using it today as a Storm Eagle, which is basically a bigger Storm Raven from Forge World, and it looks semi-like one. It's got inside Chaplain Cassius and 10 close combat scouts with a Power Fist. We've also got a Storm Talon and a Storm Raven. The Storm Raven has 5 Assault Marines in it with a Power Fist. One of the Land Raiders has 5 Death Company led by a Reclusiarch. One of the other Land Raiders, the 3rd Land Raider, has a Inquisitor in Terminator armour with a Psy Cannon. He's a Psyker and he's leading a squad of Acolytes with some Death Cults, some Crusaders, a Jokero, and 3 Multi-Melter Servitors. Lastly, but certainly not leastly, we have 2 Dread Knights in reserve. One is kitted out with Sword, Flamer, Personal Teleporter. The other one's just got a heavy Psy Cannon. Okay, that took quite some time. Let's see if the others can go through their army.
Right, and now to go through the Ork and Necron army. Starting again over on Zone Mortalis. Oh, I'm sorry about that, though. This will be the boys. Well, we've got some Necronsies here. They're those wraiths that go through walls. Don't need those doors. They can stay on. There we go, we have some Flamers here, we have Burner Boys. I ain't used them before, but in this Zone Mortalis, one of the rules actually I just remembered it was forgotten about.
I remember, boss.
The templates can re-roll to hit wounds.
Well, they're the standard Zone Mortalis rules, but one rule I did forget to mention was that in the Zone Mortalis, elites count as scoring.
Yep, I forgot that one myself. So the Burner Boys are elite. There is a mech in there as well. So, and we've also got some knobs there. I don't look like I have, but I have got a Power Claw. And the unpainted one there is a Pain Boy. So I do fear though, as soon as we set out first, that there is quite a lot here for the Imperials.
Squish her, we will.
Over here on the main board, we come round here, taking up the old living room with this we are. Right, we shall start from over here, where we have a Annihilation Barge.
No, is it? Doomsday Ark.
Oh, Doomsday Ark, sorry. The Annihilation Barges are over there.
No.
Then coming around the back here, we have some Deathcopters. This unpainted one here is a buzzsaw. All the Deathcopters have twin-link rocket launchers. We have 13 Ork boys there, all standing around that teleport pad. All the Ork boys have the usual knob, Power Claw, Boss Pole, heavy armour. You have one big mech here. He has a big shock attack gun. We have Gazzy's battle wagon here. Oh, well, Gazzy's around somewhere? Oh, he is.
Shock.
Gazzy in there is also 6 Mega Nubs and Gazzy. We have a battle wagon there. That one's got to have 20 Ork boys in. Yeah, got plenty of boys today. I forgot to mention, all battle wagons have death rollers. Never leave home without it. Rolly, squishy, spiky stuff. Those 2 battle wagons also have a cannon on. Back here,
That's the Annihilation Barge.
I knew it was around here somewhere. There's a Ghost Ark with a dude lying in it. What does he do?
That's the Cryptek, and he's accompanied by warriors.
These robot dudes.
Got destroyers with a Lord in there as well.
Yep, destroyers. Yep, there's the Lord there. I see him there. Up in our bastion at the top here.
More warriors with another lord.
Yeah, we get a bit crowded. Along our Aegis defence line here, we have
Immortals with Tesla carbines and another lord. Surprise, surprise.
in front of that, we have some knob bikers with a war boss. The war boss has got a power claw and cyborg body boss pole. In there, we've also got a big chopper, a wild banner, a normal dude, a power claw boss pole, pain boy, and a power claw. And then next to them, we've got.
These are tomb blades, first time I've used them, and they've got all the upgrades and particle blasters.
And then moving along.
Another Ghost Ark. This one has Arkan the Traveller and a load of warriors in it.
More of these Spidey robot things here.
Stalker. Another Ghost, Annihilation Barge.
Then we've got 2 more battle wagons here. Both of them, again, death rollers, but they got shooters on. The one that isn't painted, that's got some tank busters in today. A couple of them have got those tank hammers as well. Get up close to those vehicles if possible and hammer them. That one there, that one's got more Ork boysies in. And then, well, that's the back end of it, but that'd be the Stomper again.
Santa!
Unfortunately, Santa, where he died in the last game, I'm going to say those horns are actually his bunny ears. It's supposed to be the Easter bunny. I couldn't find any ears small enough for it.
Easter.
I couldn't find any ears small enough for it.
And you with a small child.
The Orks have rebuilt Santa and put ears on it instead of a hat. Right, and inside that Stomper as well was a custom force field mech, which is what we didn't have last time.
Aha, good improvement.
So, right, in reserve, on top of the Blu-ray player.
We're running out of space slightly.
The Orks had quite a few models. Right, well, we got 3 Dakar jets. We borrowed them from Death Squadron. They came along today. They've all got an extra gun on. There'll be the tank busters. That's the custom force field mech. I bought the model out. I don't think I'm actually going to need it because he ain't getting out of Stomper.
When it's a wreck, you will.
And if the Stomper blows up, he's probably going to die with it anyway. There he is. There's Gazzy. There's our good old war boss. And there's his mega knobs. Right, over the other side of the room for the other reserves. Here's the other Orks that are in the boys that are in the battle wagons. And for the other Orks reserves, we've got a unit of Storm Boys with Boss Zagstruck as well, coming into Deep Strike. What Necrons-y stuff we got? What's these robot-y things do?
Right. They're the warriors that are in the Ghost Arks.
Yep.
Behind them are more Immortals with the Ghouls Blasters and an Overlord.
Yep.
And they're in the Night Scythe.
Which is that one?
That's right.
That one's nice. Like, ooh, Necron flies.
2 Doom Scythes.
Doom Scythes, I believe is how it should be said.
Right.
And then we have the Monolith.
Hoping to last longer than a Deep Strike.
And they've got 1 more unit of warriors in reserve, and there's a Cryptek and a Lord in there.
That'd be a lot of models.
It is. I'd just like to say something. I'd like to congratulate Sai because we're playing 4,000 points each today, and Sai has fielded more or less a fully painted army. I think there's 2 models in Sai.
That's right, yep.
Nicely done. It's all looking pretty sweet as well.
Where the Orks need a lot of
If
finishing
only
off.
ours was painted.
Yeah. Right, let's see how turn 1 goes. Right, this be Orks' Necron turn 2. I came over... Turn 1, yeah, sorry. I forgot about that. I've come over to the Imperial side of the table to get a better view of...
Keep your filthy hands off!
This would be the Impy Guardsman's view. There'd be a huge army of stuff coming at them. Lots of Orks.
Any of you guardsmen run, I'll cap you in the face.
There, run. Right, basically, everything that was... You could see there was a big line of stuff there in the display. Is now a big line of stuff over here. We've run everything because it's night fighting turn 1. I don't think we mentioned that before.
Oh, possibly not. No, it's not fighting yet.
We did have the option of flicking the switch and turning it off with the Necrons, but we thought we might keep hold of that. It could come in useful. So these Necron-y, Tomb Blade-y things came up here. Deathly copters here. Gazzy moved up. The bikers are there, and as you see, there's the road. They're not far. There's not a lot in between the Impy Guardsmen. The best move really was this only moved the 6 inches there, so that these Ork boysies could get out 6 inches, and then they ran. They got the 6 inches, so they're up there holding the objective. And I don't think we're going to move much in our next turn. So we can fire some rocket things out of there. These lordy dudes just moved up a little bit. They've all stayed there, obviously in their big long line. He's there. The Ork boys still guarding that teleporty paddy. And Warriors staying out. And again, as I say, we just moved up a little bit there. Those two battle wagons are still within the 6 inches for the Stomper for the custom force field save of the mech that's inside there.
Mech.
The Stomper is the only thing that actually shot in this turn. It shot its big saucepan lid. We could just get the side of that, but we scattered 6 inches, and so we just missed it, unfortunately. And then we shot the big shooters at this snipery dude up here and missed. Lots. And over on the Zone Mortalis bit here, look, these race are in there. Oh look, they didn't have to break the door down. That's always fun. And they're hiding around that bit of the wall so that these people can't actually get to them. And then these burner boys with their flamer bits have done a nice U-shaped bit there, so hopefully they can all get their template-y weapony things. And the mech back there, here have a shot. And the knobby dudes there, they're coming through there. So let's see what they do on their turn one.
End of Imperial turn 1, and we had a not terrible shooting phase actually. Swathes of fire from most things you can see over here went into the bikes and took out 2 bikes, and we've delivered 2 wounds, 1 on each bike over there, with a mixture of fire from some snipers over there as well. The Storm Eagle, yes, the Manticore fired Storm Eagles over here at Gazzy's vehicle and put a hold point on it. The other hold point came from...
We've stopped it from firing as well.
Yeah, we stopped it from firing. Yippee. Yeah. I don't know where the other hold point from that one came from, but it did.
I think it was from the las cannons on top of the bastion.
Yes, that's right. Las cannons from there also joined in. Otherwise, the Thunderfire cannon, which is in this building over... Yeah.
It's a homemade Thunderfire.
Does the job perfectly well, then. Fired at the Orks that had taken this objective, which would allow them to fire some missiles at us in their next turn, and push them off of it by causing 5 wounds, 1 survived, but killed 4 models and took them off the objective, which was the important part. The Baneblade did pretty atrociously badly due to this man's rolling over there.
I blame myself.
Shame. The pie plate landed over there, the den plate, and did 1 glancing wound. Then a collection of demolisher cannons and las cannons did pretty much nothing. We did 1 more hull point to the Stomper out of all that firing,
can't
really.
move or fire, but it can fire its main gun.
Yeah, it's taken 2 hull points, but its primary weapons actually survived both of those, so it's actually in quite good nick. 1 good thing we did with the conglomeration of fire from over here and the Vanquisher, there was another Batwagon there where that crater is, which had tank busters in it. Both the Batwagon and tank busters have been completely and utterly demolished. Other exciting events was the Colossus fired
This is a long-range shot.
a Hail Mary shot across the board to where there were a large collection of warriors supporting this chap in this top of this tower. Tells the story, really, that he's only the one there. The group of warriors were wiped out entirely. Otherwise, the table is as was, and it's likely we're going to get some charged Imperial Guard next turn, so let's see how that goes.
Zone Mortalis.
Oh, well, yeah, Zone Mortalis, of course. We have another table. Everything charged forward. These guys ran forward after they moved. These guys ran forward and are next to the door, so we can start claiming this. Fortunately, we didn't push them off a bombard objective for this turn, so next turn they're going to get a very inaccurate but could be potentially powerful shot from that. These assault marines charged forward, having to make dangerous train checks, and 2 died, sadly.
Including a flamer, which was very bad.
Including a flamer, which was a problem. They fired their bolt pistols over to these guys and took 3 off. But we hold this objective at the end of the turn, so we'll be getting a victory point for that.
At the end of their turn, we get the victory point. We need to hold it for a whole turn.
Ah, okay, so it's the end of their turn. Which may mean these knobs may come and try and give us a bit of grief. But otherwise, the odds of up here are actually quite good in our favour. The odds here, well, it depends how some of their charge rolls go, because that could get very sticky very quickly. We'll let you know.
Oh, this time it'd be the end of Orks' turn 2. And Necrons. We
An afterthought.
Yeah, the afterthought. Right. The Wraiths obviously didn't move. They fired their orbital bombardment, which I shall get to in a little while since we're on the Zone Mortalis board. The Burner Boys, they just stepped back. The mech had a shot at the Dreadnought, but did nothing. We got some reinforcements coming down through the space hulks of some Necron warriors that come on. They shot and we took out a Terminator from this squad.
Go Crypto.
Yeah! The Knobs, they sort of came running around here. They shot at the assault marines. They didn't do anything when they shot. No,
No, I don't think they did.
no. But we charged in the Overwatch. They did 5 wounds with the flamers. 5 feel no pain saves. We took 1 wound on from the Overwatch in the charge in, where we butchered most of the squad. There is the sergeant and 1 other left. If only we'd wiped him out, that would have been better. But the Knobs, there are 2 and 1 wound. We fear that. Over onto the main board, worthy boys. Right, as I said, the orbital bombardment came down here. We took out the Chimera here, and we killed
One of the flamers.
Only one of the dudes.
one of the dudes inside, which is another issue. We also got the Storm Boys in. They tried getting in there. They were very close to going off the board, but they came in. They needed an 8, and they charged the Bane Blade.
It wasn't pretty.
The only one that could hit is the boss. With his 5 power claw attacks. We have now done a structure point to it and a hull point. It is also immobilised, but that means it's got half movement. A whole 3 inches it can move.
More importantly,
importantly,
it can't fire its guns.
It
this
can't
turn.
fire, and the main primary one can't fire.
Yeah,
so
very bad for us.
That's good. We got a Night Scythe coming on reserve as well. This came in along this table, so we brought it up here to try and take out the Manta.
Manticore. If only it was a Manta.
Unfortunately, their Skyfire autocannon
Yeah.
and las cannon.
Yeah, we took 2 hull points on it.
And it had to snap fire.
Yes, it had Sapphire, so that's why that's still alive. Other things. The Tomb Blades and Deathcopters and Annihilation Barge, they've all moved up. The Tomb Blades and Deathcopters, we all fired into the Imperial Guard squad. That was they were spaced out all along here. They went to ground and had 2 up save, so we eventually killed 1. Right the way down the bottom there, in that tower, obviously where the shock attack gun was, he fired up the top here. That dude, they're actually inside the bastion, so he's not actually there. We killed 1 and didn't damage the building either, which is the problem. The relic, most importantly, the relic has appeared this turn.
Yes.
Turn 2. It came on, it scattered around a bit and landed, well, you can see the crash ship here, in amongst all the Orks. It did nothing, it hit 3 Ork bikers and did they take wounds from that?
They've made their feel no pain saves, I think.
Yeah, I think that was it,
Feel
yeah.
no pain has been your friend this turn.
Gazzy has moved up. I fear the battle wagon will not survive to death roll or anything, but Gazzy is here. The bikers assaulted the Impy Guard squad. As always, Sergeant challenges, Power Claw War Boss crushes Sergeant's head. We then killed another 4.
Yep. That'll continue for quite some time, that combat.
Yes, it was only that was only the normal dude and Power Claw dude was attacking that turn. There was 2 bikers out there, so now we're at full strength. We should kill a sergeant in a challenge and then try and kill some more.
We got 2 flyers come on.
Yeah, you got 1 Dakka Jet and a Doom Scythe. Unfortunately, obviously, because we're coming on the big table-ish there, we are out of range of everything. The other battle wagon over there with the boys, that's come just rolling up. Again, don't think it's going to survive, but we shall see what they can do if there's any boys left. This lot, there's a huge pile of Orks because there's 7 of them there, and also the threat there. There's 10 all around that objective. We're hoping we can survive the barrages of template weapons. And there's obviously a few Orks there, which they're basically going to be lined up along there, but because they can't stay out there without falling over, we've just lined them up there. The Ghost Ark coming up. Hopefully we can take the relic and run backwards a little bit. The destroyers, they've just moved up and they ran 3 inches as well, because unfortunately with the Necrons, a lot of it is out of range. Annihilation Barge.
No, Doomsday Ark.
Doomsday Ark, yes.
It's another Doom weapon.
That's the Annihilation Barge. Doomsday Ark, I will get it right eventually. That fired at Land Raider.
Didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything. That was right. The Lizard Las Cannon. Fired Land Raider. Didn't do anything. Those boys just stayed there guarding teleportation pad. The stuff over here, the Necron stuff, again, just moved up because none of it was in range. That one is Annihilation Barge. It's hiding on the corner there. That one fired at the top at the assassin sniper
Yes,
dude.
our tech marines bolstered this ruin, giving us a 2+ save, which is pretty useful.
And you're going to find out why that was annoying. The Stomper. I know everyone wants to know what it did this turn. That fired 3 rockets over at the Manticore and did diddly squat because it's only snap firing. The big shooters on it, 2 big shooters, fired at him, didn't hit. The template hit the Baneblade, and that did a hull point to it.
That it did. Advancing hit.
We fired the Gatling gun off this turn, snap firing. We started off with the Grey Knights. As you can see, they didn't take any wounds. We've moved on to basically fired at this building. This should be a ruin.
How many
crumble.
shots was it total, Si?
It was 16 shots.
16 2d6 rolls.
Yeah, so 32d6.
Yep. And
Killed a scout.
we killed a scout and the Thunderfire cannon.
Yeah, the ruins giving a 2+ save to the dudes with stealth, so they were pretty
And not rolling 6s hit because of snap firing. All the 2d6 generally were high rolls, but just couldn't roll 6s to hit. That's everything for us, I believe. Still in reserves are the Monolith over there, and another Doom Scythe, and 2 Decker Jets. That is all we've got left in reserve. Let's see how turn 2 goes for the Imperial Alliance.
Okay, it is Imperial side turn 2. The first and most important thing happened at the very start of the phase. Si, the evil Necron player over there, activated his solar pulse, which this turn was most helpful.
We turned the lights out.
We are under night fighting for the turn, which was not good for us. First thing that happened, other than that, was we rolled our reserves, and we did very well on reserve. The only things we didn't get the Storm Raven in, and we didn't get the 5 Melter Armed Jump Squad. Other than that, everything arrived. So Marbo, the Calidus Assassin, 4 other Flyers, 2 Dread Knights, so it was really good in that regard. We moved up with our Land Raider over this side. The Death Company came out and they pureed the squad of 5 Necron bikes. The Land Raider there fired its multi-melter into the battle wagon, blew it up. That deposited Gazgul and his friends on the floor. The Calidus Assassin had appeared behind Gazgul's squad, hoping for just such a result. He then flamed into them with his leadership, hitting AP1 Flamer. It managed to do 3 wounds to the knobs, which was pretty sweet. We fired various other things at the Deathcopters, like the Hurricane Bolters on there, the auto cannons that are inside the Bastion, but they were pretty good on their saves, again, helpful night fighting, and we only managed to wipe one of their number out. The Imperial Guardsmen down here continued in their combat with the Knob Bikers. Unfortunately, the Commissar went a bit gun crazy and capped the last remaining sergeant in the head after his fellow had challenged the war boss and died. So now I don't have any more ablative wound sergeants in the squad, which is a bit annoying. We fired a variety of las cannons into the mega knobs, one from the side of this, a couple from here. I think we managed to kill off one more knob. We fired a few of the things that are over here, things like the Lemon Rust there, and the las cannons and the orbital bombardment from up here into the central mass, but again, the bloody cover saves. We managed to immobilise something and do a hull point to the Necron vehicle, but really no significant damage. The Manticore fired over there as well, but scattered back quite some distance and again, didn't hurt anything. The Baneblade sat there going, I'm annoyed because he couldn't get to fire his main gun this turn. I fear next turn he could be in trouble. The Storm Eagle came on in normal skimmer mode, so it could deposit its 10 scouts on the floor. The 10 scouts are led by Chaplain Cassius, and they charged into the orcs that had molested the back of the Baneblade the previous turn, wiped them out to a man, and have consolidated backwards to get back in the Storm Eagle. They took a few casualties from snap firing more than anything else. 2 Vendettas came on. Cunningly, we managed to get lines of sight over to the Necron and Ork flyer respectively, fired at each, and we have done 2 hull points to each of them. Not the most effective way of doing stuff, but they had good cover saves, so we were reasonably pleased with that. The Ork flyer is also immobilised, so it's flying straight forwards this turn. Down here, the Inquisitorial Land Raider swung sideways and multi-melted this battle wagon that was here. You see the crater it's now left, and its contents were deposited out, which are Death Cult assassins led by an Inquisitor and Jokero and various other things. They happily mulched the whole Orc squad and are sitting in cover waiting to get back in their Land Raider. The Grey Knights are holding the teleport Homer, waiting to do some other stuff when they're needed. They fired forwards, but again, the poxy cover saves due to night fighting saved the Necron vehicle there from its worst fate. Over here, we fired some shots down at the Triarch Stalker, again, night fighting. The snipers contributed to fire down at these orcs. The orcs that were there. The Lemuras Vanquisher fired and happily penetrated the Stomper, but yes, you guessed it, night fighting along with a custom force field gives it a free up save, so it's like a Stomper with a storm shield. Really not good for us. Marbo appeared, and he has gone down here, looking there with his headband on. He lobbed his bomb over the side, and we have managed to immobilise this Necron vehicle, but it scattered quite away, and we only clipped the back of it, so couldn't hurt any of the other vehicles down there. We fired our siege mortar at the central objective, because if there were orcs still on the central objective at the end of our turn, they score a victory point, and it means next turn they can fire 2 of the missiles that are still in the thunderhawk. We fired there, but we scattered quite wildly and went over there somewhere and didn't hit anything. Our 2 Dread Knights came down over here in the backfield where there are lots of Necrons. This one came down with pinpoint accuracy and heavy flamed the orcs there. He managed to take out 10 of them, forcing a leadership check, and he'd also killed the knob. But unfortunately, Nick rolled a 6, so he managed to stay there. So he's definitely got that objective. The other one with a heavy side cannon came down over here, and there was really not very good targets about because it's a template weapon. Everything was in cover or ignored its penetration. So he fired up here, hoping to deal a second wound to the Icarus Las cannon, which we had wounded on the first turn of the game. But both it and the Lord up there made their saves. Other stuff that happened, not a whole lot. We shuffled a few bits about, but then we come over to the Zone Mortalis, where our turn went from not rolling very well to shocking.
But there's no night fighting. How could that happen?
Yeah, so basically, you'll remember we had a Dreadnought here. Now, this was a Blood Talon Dreadnought, bane of infantry everywhere. It usually charges in, wipes out entire squads. I blame that man there. So, he charged in, rolled to hit, only hit once. He then rolled to wound, rolled a 1, and then managed to get a wound, and then rolled another 1 to hit with his second attack, so he'd done 1 wound, which was not good.
Made the feel no pain save as well,
Nick then responded with his Power Claw and ripped the Dreadnought into pieces. Even though it's AV-13, he's only Strength 8, he needs 6s to hurt it at all. He blew it up. The rest of the knobs killed our other Marines who were in combat, which was also really bad rolling, and he is now in control of that objective at the end of our turn, meaning they've scored 2 victory points this turn.
You forget the Pain Boy accepted a challenge from the Sergeant, and the Sergeant did nothing, and the Pain Boy
just wiped out. Yeah. We expected them to get that one at the end of this turn, because it was quite a lot to wipe out, but this one up here, it was just atrocious. Our Dreadnought really should have rinsed through them. So then we thought, right, it's okay, we've got Lysander and all the Terminators, they'll beat up all these Wraiths, because the Wraiths were in there, and they can just walk through the walls to get there, but we unfortunately can't. So we could have assaulted the door, but instead we swung wide to get line of sight and then charged the Wraiths that were at the back here, forcing the rest of them to consolidate out of there, because they can walk through walls, and get into combat with us. Unfortunately, Sai rolled like a demon to wound us and put about 11 wounds on us. We then failed 4 of our 2+ saves.
We failed.
Okay.
That is turn the camera around at you.
I think it's time to blame the other person.
It was me. Because Chris had rolled so poorly with the Dreadnought, we decided I would take over this combat. So that wasn't good, so we lost a load of our Thunderhammers, and we lost both our Lightning Claws in that combat, really bad. But luckily, due to the fact we're armed with loads of Thunderhammers, and we have a Librarian in there who had caused his weapon to be instant death, we managed to kill 4 of the Wraiths, so we should should I say, all things being equal, be able to even up and kill those in our next round of combat. The whip coils on the Wraiths are really helpful, letting them attack first to wipe out loads of our unit first. Over here, the Terminators move forward. We killed about 5 Necrons, but a couple of them got back up. It's a bit of a shooting war there. I'm not really sure if there's going to be a winner anytime soon, but we're guarding the teleport there. So, that is the end of turn 2. This is our multi-day game because it took us all day to set up and start. So we're going to go off for dinner now. We'll come back tomorrow and see what's happening.
Welcome back to day 2 of this big giant game. Just going to do the video quickly because of the time we've got for YouTube. Dakka Jets came in. Other flying Necron thing came in. And Immortals came in. Sorry for the quick zoom in. We shot at the Dread Knight there lots and killed that one. And this one has only taken a wound. And we did shoot with everything on the lower bit
the
of the board.
entire half of the board,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Monolith came in! Hooray! Tried sucking that little assassin dude through the portal. Didn't work. Gazzy! Where's the Death Company gone? Oh yeah,
There's still one there, Nick. I think you'll find.
Yeah, but Gazzy's there still. Unfortunately, we did kill the finish off the Blob Squad, and we both rolled a 1, so I killed them all. Unfortunately, only consolidate 1 inch. I spread out a bit.
Yeah, Bastion's taken a bit of damage.
Bastion had a penetrating hit and has lost
Yeah, I think
one
the shock attack
AV.
gun did that, didn't it?
Yes, it was the shock attack gun, and we've killed another dude on the top, and the
guys inside have been wounded as well.
yeah, and the las cannon's
we've
taken
lost
a
a
wound. Yes, we lost that big heavy bolter at the back.
A useful one it is.
Yeah. These dudes that were inside that building, they lost one of their number and then decided to run away. The Orks fired from the thunderhawk. Didn't actually hurt that, but which what was firing at.
Monolith tried that as well.
Over this side of the board, the Stomper did nothing this turn. It tried shooting the assassin again, failed, miss. We hit the Baneblade, but only rolled a 3 for trying to do any damage to it, so it didn't do anything to that.
Immobilised the Valkyrie.
Immobilised the Valkyrie.
Scored a whole point on a Land Raider.
Yeah.
Yes, what's his name was a bit of a letdown, wasn't he?
Yeah, we tried taking over a gun on the Land Raider, which failed because we was going to fire their own guns into the back of the
And then
Death Cult assassins.
He missed with his, what's that arrow called?
Hierarch arrow or
Tachyon arrow.
I think that's everything from the main board. Over onto Zone Mortalis, where we was doing well during the turn 2 before. The Necron Warriors have come along here and... Wait a minute, there's only 1 Terminator left in this squad here.
Yeah.
That's
massacre.
It's a
I think
massacre
I'm going
there.
to give up on the Zone Mortalis. I just can't roll.
Obviously, the Knobs are still there holding the objective. The Burner Boys, Burner Boy and Mech came here. The combat. Wait.
I scored another wound on Lysander.
Lysander's taken a wound, and Sai made all the invulnerable saves.
Leadership check on the Terminator.
Oh!
Won that combat.
On camera. On camera. Let's
On
do these
camera,
stats.
they're stubborn, so Lysander's got leadership 10, so they're still on leadership 10, but you never know.
Yeah!
Failed. Let's see how far they run. Being Marines, they can't actually... Oh, that's actually good for me. I'm out of the combat.
No! Can we run them
There you go.
down?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh no, you can run them down, but you can't kill them. So we need to make an initiative roll off.
Initiative roll. This is all
we
on
should have
camera.
really done this off camera, shouldn't we? So initiative roll off. I've got initiative 4. You've got initiative 2. So I get away.
Damn it.
I moved away 9, but because they're Marines, they automatically rally and get to move an assault next turn.
Right.
So I get a free assault.
That's not good for us. Right. We'll see you in the next turn.
Imperial turn 3. The evil, sadistic Necron Knight fighting rule has finished. Thus I can fire properly. This was a much better turn due to this fact. So, starting off over here. Well, first of all, well not first, but the Death Company dude who was left alive obviously got butchered by Ghazghkull. The Land Raider here, multi-melted up here, managed to immobilise that vehicle. I got a lot of immobilised this turn, which isn't good because it's all in range. The rest of its guns wiped out 2 of the Death Copters. There's 1 left, but he passed his leadership. The Storm Eagle, the scouts embarked, it shot forward, I spent most of the turn firing at this Necron barge here. It's taken 3 hull points and it's crew shaken, but it's still there. We fired from this bastion up here at it. We scattered with our orbital strike and killed a couple of the destroyers. This guy, he leapt on top of the Storm Raven where what's that called, a thunderhawk. Where there were still 10 orcs cowering. He flamed 8 of them to death and then charged in and the rest ran off. They are still there but they're running away, so he is nicely entrenched there. The Necron warriors were picked on mainly by the Colossus over there, which ignores their cover and armour saves, and I managed to pinpoint accuracy to land it on top of the cryptek. So he had to take all the wounds, he died and took out most of the squad, and then amazingly they failed their leadership and have scarpered off the board. This Vendetta is the one that is immobilised, so it had to shoot forward 36 inches, landed there, shot up this Doom Scythe, stopped it from firing next turn. So I finally remembered his living metal rule, which we'd been forgetting all game, but he rolled a 1, so it still can't fire, which was a bit annoying for him. Other Vendetta leapt forward and shot at a Dakka jet, but I think it jinked a little bit, so it's just taken a wound. Those dudes on the floor, they leapt out the back of the Vendetta, thinking they were going to need to shoot the Stomper in the arse, but we'll get to the Stomper when I'm that side of the table. Other things that happened over here. My melter gun has arrived from reserve, popped in, shot the monolith, but failed to penetrate it 2 times. We have our Storm Talon here, that shot down an Ork Dakka jet. The Land Raider here tried his luck against the monolith but failed with his las cannons, but he did manage to kill an Ork Knob Biker with his heavy bolter. This assassin here, it was the one over there that got tempted to be sucked into the Necron portal. It ran over the cover and used its special mental flamer on the knobs, managed to kill one of them, and then combined fire from various other sources. I fired the autocannons from inside there, and there are a couple of other things, I can't remember exactly what they were. Quite a lot of fire. I knocked out all but the war boss in combat, so then I charged in with the assassin. We had a challenge going on. I appear to have an instant death power weapon. He unfortunately has initiative 1 against my initiative 8. I managed to roll a 6 to wound him and he was gone. Other stuff.
Only 1 out of 6 as well.
Only 1 wound, yeah, so I did well. Baneblade. So he was allowed to fire this turn, which was a bonus. So he fired his las cannon, that's what I fired at the knobs. I fired the 2 heavy bolters that were there, and I also fired the demolisher cannon, which killed I think at least 2, if you weren't good on your saves, because it instant deaths them. It also fired its 2 las cannons over there where Anrakir the Traveller, is that his name?
Yeah.
Anrakir the Traveller managed to deal him a wound. I then fired some other stuff at Anrakir. I think it was something on this Land Raider fired at him, knocking him down to 1 wound, and then Marbo up there opened up with his Ripper pistol and managed to deal the final wound. He was prepared to charge in, but Anrakir failed to stand up. The large gun on the Baneblade fired over there and managed to clip the Stomper, Anrakir, the barge at the back, and the barge down there. I didn't roll particularly well. I think I did a whole point to each of those 2 vehicles, but I managed to do a decent hit to the Stomper and it took an extra structure point. We then fired the Storm Raven at the Stomper. That did a load of extra damage to it, and it was down to having 2 hull points left, and it had taken 3 structure points, so 1 more to kill it. So I fired this squad with their multi-melters. They were at extreme range, but I managed to pop it. It didn't do an apocalyptic explosion.
It's just wrecked.
But it is now wrecked, so victory point to me. Struggling to get back in the game, but it's helping. There was a large Necron warrior squad who I literally poured all of my fire into from everything around here. There was a Land Raider, there was a Chimera, everything, the Grey Knights here, all fired into them, and with the last shot from the scouts I killed the last one so they couldn't get up, which is very helpful. The Melter dudes here that had dropped down to kill the Stomper, they didn't need to, so they shot at this thing at point blank range but only got 1 hit through and have immobilised it. Story of my turn. Other useful things, the Vindicare up here fired at the monolith, a nice clean shot, got through but just did a structure point to a hull point to it because it used its living metal to ignore the rest of it. Over here on the Zone Mortalis, this was a better turn for me. The Terminators, after their whipping at the hands of the bloody Wraiths, the Wraiths are now, they consolidated at the end of last turn into base contact with the barrage control computer, meaning next turn they get to barrage the main table again. But the Terminators, they ran in and butchered the knobs who were there, and they then consolidated, so they're in control of the objective. If they can stay there till the end of next turn, then that'll be fine. I shall score a victory point and get back in the game. The Tech Marine, who was on the main board, who lost his Thunderfire cannon, has used the teleporter to come up here. Unfortunately, him and his Terminator friend, although they're hiding this turn, are slightly outnumbered by the big party of Necrons over there, so I'm a little worried. Anything else you guys can remember? That thing fired at the Stomper, but not a lot else happened, did it?
No,
well, that was quite a lot happened. I spent about 45 minutes firing guns.
Well, it's 2-1 at the moment VP-wise to us.
That it is. Okay, let's see what happens with the evil Necrons and Orks.
This will be the Orks turn 4. Right, stuff that happened this turn. These Orks, because obviously we haven't got a troop inside the bastion to score our objective, they've come running down and run along. So next turn, hopefully, we can get inside our bastion and score that. We fired a hell of a lot into that. Did nothing.
Yeah, he has been the first one. You got there with ease. That one's just gone. Yeah, bring it. You're half your army, no problem.
This one, this Necron flyer, couldn't fire its main guns, but the other guns on it, snap firing, took out the Storm Eagle. It blew up, killing 4 of the guys' scouts inside.
Yes, Chaplain Cassius lets me survive a bit inside.
Yes,
It's toughness 6.
So there's 4 there down on the ground. The monolith this turn turned round a bit, moved up and turned round to the doors this side. That was the weapon that couldn't fire as well. We teleported the immortals that were over there to here. They shot the assault marines there. We killed some, but obviously they're fearless, so obviously they're staying there. Ghazi and that, they moved up. They needed a big number to try and assault this, because we were trying to fire and destroy the bastion in this turn. We fired, obviously.
Oh, Nick, we've forgotten something.
What did we forget?
You've got to have 3 attacks with your copter against the bastion.
3 attacks, right.
You need 6s to glance it.
I need to hit it first.
No, you automatically hit the stationary bastion.
Oh, it's a
Even
6
I could hit
glance.
one. You've done a glance, so that does a wound to the dude inside. Who is now wounded? You've wounded all 3 of the dudes inside.
Yes. We finally, the whip coil, it's a plasma coil, isn't it, from the
Particle whip.
particle whip. I know it's a whip.
Battle cannon.
It's a whip something. We attempted to hit that, it scattered. We done a glancing hit on the manticore. It's only got 1 rocket left. That's about it for rounds to the back here.
You did a couple of hull points to
that, yes.
That was with size dude down here, and that flyer there.
And the custom force-field mech had to get out the Stomper obviously last time, and decided to shoot, assault into the Imp Guards. He won the combat and won, and they've gone running. They're over there. The Stalker, actually, sorry, we didn't say whether we wanted to assault the Imp Guards there, which you were thinking of doing with it. We shot and blew up the Chimera. There's only 3 dudes left there.
Yeah.
Over on the Zone Mortalis, obviously we needed to try and stop the Terminators and that from scoring. So we shot everything in. We managed to get a couple of shots on the Warriors in and the Burner Boys. We did some hits, but obviously all saves were made. And then charged in, and the Terminators have finally finished off the last couple of Wraiths and that, and they scored another VP there. I don't think there's anything else we're missing from our turn, but that was everything, wasn't it? There's nothing we missed?
Yeah, you fired at the Bastion a lot and you fired at the Dreadnought a lot, but you just didn't have much luck.
The things that we needed to kill, we killed 1.
Yeah.
Because we're worried about troop choices and stuff coming over to our Bastion now, and the relic that's still there and no one's actually picked up.
Yep.
So we'll see how the Imperial turn 4 goes.
End of Imperial turn 4. So this turn I basically fired everything again. Over on the far side of the board, the Vendetta attempted to deal damage to this Bastion, and the other Vendetta leapt over and some troops piled out the back, but they failed to hurt the Bastion as well. The rest of the stuff we left unmolested because they couldn't really hurt any of my important stuff. The Scouts and Chaplain Cassius, who were left over here, they leapt forward and ran through the terrain, and they are now actually on the relic, so in my next turn they'll be able to seize the relic. I used my las cannons on top of the Bastion to take out this vehicle here, causing a nice line of sight blocking bit to basically protect me from the fire of the size army at the back there. So the Scouts in there, when they could go to ground in the area terrain with stuff, they would be pretty much indestructible to standard shooting. Over here, I charged the Dreadnought into the Immortals, and also charged my Calidus Assassin in. The Dreadnought managed to flame a few beforehand, and we fired various things from round and about, things like the auto cannons from in there, and the Grey Knights over there fired into the Immortals just to whittle them down a bit. Got in combat, the Assassin challenged the Overlord, got 2 instant death wounds through, but Si made his 2 saves, and he then happily chopped my Assassin in half. The Dreadnought, he killed a few of the Immortals. I actually did a wound back. Si passed the leadership check, but that's his Warlord there, and I'm now locked in combat and challenge with the Dreadnought. No guarantee because he's got 3+, but reasonably happy with that situation. Over here, Ghazi had unfortunately drawn the attention of Baney the Baneblade. I literally fired the entire tank at Ghazi's squad and obliterated it. It took loads and loads of wounds. I think I had to mop it up with something, didn't I? I think I mopped it up with... I mopped it up with a heavy bolter from the Land Raider, did Gazzy's last wound to him. This other Land Raider also fired into the squad, but he made all his saves against that. The Manticore fired over at the monolith, but failed to hurt it. Oh no, it did a glancing hit to it, so it took another whole point. And then the Storm Raven, who had gone to ground, opened fire with all of his shots. He missed with the multi-melter and the las cannon because he had to snap fire this turn, but I managed to hit with one of the missiles and managed to penetrate, and it killed the monolith, so that was out of play. Over here, most of this stuff's out of action. I fired my cover-ignoring Colossus, which has been my MVP of the game, this game, because the entire game is spent shooting at the middle there, where there's loads of cover and killing everything. But it fired back here to try and force a break check on the boys. Unfortunately, I was one boy short of forcing a break check, so they're going to be able to get into that bastion and score it on their next turn. Other things that happened, not really much happened over here. I manoeuvred around a bit, and I fired my Psy Cannon from the Grey Knights at the Triarch Stalker. Managed to get a really lucky penetrating hit that managed to explode it, which was pretty good. Nothing of particular importance happened over there. On the Zone Mortalis, I'm pretty secure. I've got my 5 Storm Shield wielding Terminators sitting on the objective, so I score that at the end of each of their turns, and I also score it for being an objective. My Tech Marine and Dude are hiding up here, hiding from the Necron warriors there. Okay, so we've actually decided to call it now because we think that basically the Necrons and Orks can't deal enough damage to me to get back into the game.
To get enough VPs.
Yeah, that's it. And Nick's very understanding wife is coming home at some point, and it's going to take us quite some time to pack up this stuff.
And believe it or not, we've actually packed some up as we're going along.
Yeah, so let's go through VPs at the end of the game, just so we can see where stuff's going. So, starting off with the objectives. Over here, I'm still in my bastion with a scoring unit, and I have a spare scoring unit behind it. And there's not a lot to threaten it. They can glance stuff, but unlikely to kill it.
We can try and destroy the
shock attack and that.
Which will
but
possibly...
then, unless you kill the stuff inside, I still score it. So well, that one I've got 3 VPs for.
Yeah.
Over in their zone, their bastion is also unharmed, and the Orks could move in next turn, so they'd have 3 VPs for that one. In the centre of the board, I've managed to wipe out their troops in the centre, and I've locked up the Immortals that were down here. So my scouts have got the relic, and I've got some jump marines there, and some more jump marines inside the Storm Raven, which can both get to the last objective up there if need be.
It depends on the things. I mean, I just got a quick measure. The Dakka jet would land pretty much in front of the scouts, so there is a chance you could have killed the scouts.
There's enough firepower on the board that with decent rolling you can kill anything.
We could possibly kill the scouts, but
I think with redundancy,
you would definitely get that one.
With the 2 jump units, I think I'd have the centre one.
Yeah.
And then Warlord points. I managed to kill Gazzy this turn for a Warlord point, and my 2 Warlords are the Grey Knight, who has... They basically moved 2 for move through cover every turn of the game and have managed to move 6 inches total.
Well, the Grey Knights did exactly the same as the Orks. They just sat on the teleport pad. So
I was waiting to try and teleport over to that corner to take your objective, but I never had time to put enough firepower on the Orks to remove them.
Exactly. So you couldn't teleport through us because you couldn't deploy. We couldn't teleport over to you, couldn't deploy. No point going over to the Zone Mortalis.
Yeah, that's it.
The Orks just had to move in the end because the Necrons died. Were on the...
So he was one of my overlords down there, so they didn't get that point, and the other overlord is up here being Lysander, and he's perfectly safe as well. So they didn't get any overlord points. He was
lucky though, because he is on 1 wound.
Oh, he's on 2 wounds. He starts with 4.
Oh, I thought
you've done him 2.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I remember before you said he went down to 1. So.
What else have we got? Other secondary objective points. I've killed their Stomper, and my Baneblade is looking pretty unmolested. He's taken a structure point, but there's really nothing around that can hurt him. Yeah. I was quite insistent that I managed to shoot all the Gores before it got close, because Gores really would do a number on him. So I've got their point for that, and the consecutive scoring victory points, they got a point for being on the Thunderhawk and a point for being up here. So they had 2, and I've got 1 point for being up here, so I've got 1 there. So I'm slightly ahead on victory points at the moment, but we think that if the game went on, I would only go further ahead, so that's why we decided to call it. So guys, what did you think about the game? I felt the night fighting was awesome from your side, but once it went, my firepower was awesome.
Night fighting kept the Stomper alive for more than 2 turns. The problem was, because of the deployment, as we did random deployment anyway, it meant Orks needed 3 turns to get into close combat. Never helpful.
And the bikes, they could have done so much damage, but the fact that they had to only charge, because I'd strung the blob squad out in front of them, it just meant they stuck there, 3-4 turns before they killed them all?
Yeah, if they got through the blob squad, Bane would have been easily destroyed.
Because even your one power claw dude, the
he did
Zagstruck.
Yeah, he did the structure point.
Yeah, he did like 3 hurts to it just by charging in. So they could have done a real number if they'd have got through those bikes a bit quicker.
Ghazi, obviously, where the battle wagon got destroyed.
Yeah, I felt that was a big turning point, as I said earlier. That Ghazi, on their last turn, Ghazi was 9 inches away from the bastion here. Yeah. And if he'd have made the 9-inch charge, which he failed by a couple, he'd have got into the bastion, happily killed it with his Mega Knobs in combat, and then he could have hidden behind the remains and stopped me firing all my stuff at it. So it would have been, I think that was a big, that's when I thought, when he failed that, I thought, oh, I think I'm okay now. Yeah. But if you'd have made that charge, I'd have been in deep trouble.
If that had got destroyed, pretty much everything in there would have.
Yeah, and then you could just walked along the line, assaulting stuff until you got to Bainey.
Well, Ghazi might have separated himself from the unit. Yeah. The Mega Knob's going to stay there to score the objective there.
Exactly, because they're a troop.
And then Ghazi could have just gone towards Bainey with his claw, just going, "I'm coming."
What did you think of your Necrons this game, Si?
The problem was the range of the weapons.
Yeah, because
it took so long to get into range. You couldn't just put any firepower on the weapon.
That's it. It was a bit exacerbated because you had the Orks in front of you because they obviously wanted to steam forward. So that put you back like another 6 inches, didn't it?
We had to allow the Orks to go first.
Yeah.
And
Chris and I, when we set up yesterday, we set up a bit further back, didn't we? So it was actually more than 24-inch gap.
Yeah.
What do you think of the flyers? I love seeing the flyers on the table. I think it adds a really cinematic effect to the table, all the flyers.
Imperial flyers are better than obviously the...
yeah, I mean, they are a lot more expensive. I mean, that cost 200 bit points and one over there cost 300 points, but they were good.
Again, the problem which we had with the flyers, obviously you had it with yours as well, but you had yours with troops and longer range weapons and things. Coming on the board, it took 2 turns generally before they could actually have an impact.
Yeah, because they got short range guns.
Yeah, yours come on, and because we're in your area anyway.
The Doom sides are very good, but just couldn't get close enough to do anything worthwhile.
I made sure to either force them to jink or to stun them each turn, didn't I? So they couldn't fire their death ray.
With the outflanking from the Warlord.
He was really unlucky. He came on turn 2, didn't he? But he failed all his to hit rolls somehow against the Manticore.
Didn't he get shot as well? So he's snapped.
We wounded him, but he still got to fire with his gun. But he just couldn't hurt the Manticore, which would have been really helpful. Yeah. Although the Manticore hasn't been good this game, but the Colossus was just immense this game.
It's the amount of template stuff that you had. And as I say, the Colossus...
It's what Impigard do. The Colossus...
Armor saves, you're in cover.
Every turn I put it there, it's got AP 3, it ignores all cover, it's strength 6. It was just it wiped out Orks, then it wiped out Necrons, it just obliterated. That was...
And the Dread Knight, obviously
Dread Knight there was really handy. He just basically the entire of your army back here fired at them every turn.
Yeah, well, they won't do it.
I think that was maybe one of the key things was the fact that our army, or my army as it were, has loads of AV-14 and loads of 2+ armour, and you didn't have enough weapons that could really hurt them.
No, should have brought more crack grenades along.
Yeah, fucking Dread Knights. Nick always kill them with crack grenades.
Yeah, well, really, I mean, I wouldn't have changed anything in the Ork army. There's enough.
The Ork army just suffers from a lack of AP anyway, so it's not a whole lot you can do about it.
With regards to super heavies again, the Baneblade, once again, I know I said it in the last video, it's so much easier for that to get cover. Obviously,
I parked it behind this big line of sight blocking, meaning I'm generally getting a 4+ cover. Yeah. I mean, okay, the Stompy had 3+ cover from the night fighting.
Yeah, but if the night fighting wasn't there, it's a 5 up from the custom forcible mech who's in it.
And we still managed to glance it to do some stuns and shaken early on to it.
Yeah.
Over on the Zone Mortalis, I was really worried after... When we set up, they set up first, so they had to commit their stuff to the Zone Mortalis before we chose, so we overloaded the board compared to them, thinking, we'll definitely take control. But the Wraiths did a right number on the Terminators, and those knobs of yours killed an entire 10-man Assault Marine squad.
Yeah,
and the Dreadnought. Oh, couldn't believe when you killed the Dreadnought. But luckily the remains over here, I started making all my saves, and we managed to mop them up. Yeah, and managed to mop up the Wraiths.
If obviously the Lysander didn't fail the save and you mopped up the Wraiths in there, I could have shot them a bit more.
That failed leadership was good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much. It was better than not failing it easily.
Yeah, if you hadn't failed it, we would have got another point from there, so you wouldn't have got your one.
Yeah, and then I think we'd have been even on actual points at this stage.
Yeah, you still would have taken that, but we could have.
But it would have been the next one. We'd have been one less points. Actually, you'd have been a point ahead if that had happened.
Overall, it was a good game, good mission. I'd say it just took too long for the Orks to get in, and once the knife fighting was done. We couldn't get close enough to stop shooting before night fighting.
Yeah, that's it. again, it was just the AV-14. I fielded like 7 AV-14 vehicles.
Yeah.
Should have made both cryptex with the solar pulse.
Yeah, the solar pulse was just immense.
Yeah, if we had 3 turns of night fights.
It wasn't so bad turn 1, but turn 2, I just couldn't hurt anything.
Well, I thought the other one with the haywire weapon might, be able to
Again,
get
it was the range, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You just
it's
couldn't
range,
get there.
So, yeah, but overall, yeah, good.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it looked really cinematic, this game. I think the train looked really good on the table, and all the flyers looked awesome flying around.
Yeah. So as I say, it was just range and
range. I think was the big key.
Range and the sort of distance on table for getting stuff in was what swung it. So you had a lot more time to shoot us, which was the issue. But that's what you get playing shooting armies and close combat armies. So
yeah, that is it.
Just trying to get in.
And for playing such giant 8,000 point armies, which we now have to pack up. That'll be fun.
May I just point out, you only had just enough room. You struggled getting it in your car before. Simon needs to lift home.
So I may be strapped to the roof. Because let's face it, I'm putting Si on the roof before I put my models on the roof.
What about size models?
Size models will not fit in the car. Okay, everyone, thanks for watching. Wait and see what we do next bank holiday. A bit bigger game, and the phone's about to run out of battery, you fucking thing! Nick is a dedicated wargamer. You can tell this by the fact that he has paid for his wife to go and stay in a hotel for the evening so we can play 40k for 2 days. That's what we like about him. Fuck me, the camera is flashing again. Sorry about this.
Right. Shall we sort out setting up on the board?
Yeah.
Do a bloopers video.
I believe that's what he's just done.
The socket isn't turned on. I never turn any of my sockets off at home, thus I'd never check. Why are your sockets turned off? It's